Hi, let's start with basics of CSS today. Okay, so CSS is all about full form cascading style sheets. So CSS makes the HTML feel like it will just change the look and feel of the HTML document. Because see, when we write any HTML file, we are only having one color and the default behavior. Like we are only having the black color as a output for any text or for any headings and all. So CSS, we by using CSS we can style the things. We can style the HTML document. Okay, so let's start with that. So as I said, I described the presentation of document, and then we are able to control like how the things appears on the screen, how it changes the behavior of web page. So all those things we will check in CSS. Okay, we can do using CSS. So if you see CSS syntax, so it is having a selector. Selector is nothing but it's a element will be there or either attribute will be there. Okay, so all those things are there as a selector, right? And then open curly bracket, properties and value. So property is nothing but it's so many properties are available. Like property in the sense means like what kind of things you wanted to change for HTML document. Like let's suppose if you have created one paragraph and if you want to change the color, so color is the property. If you want to change the background color, so background color is the property. If you want to change the size of the text, so you can use font size, so that is one property. So many properties of that element you can change it using CSS, and the value which you can provide. So value can be like, okay, color as red, background color as yellow, font size as 20 pixel. Okay, so size will be denoted with pixel. Okay, px. So this is a syntax for selector. So as we can see here down, there is example mentioned table. Table is already your tag, right? We have one table tag where which help us to create the table. So table question mark border. So border is nothing but it's a property of the table. Means the border should have 1 px size, means the thickness, the width of the border should be 1 px plus solid. It should not be dashed type, it should not be like dotted type, it should be complete like solid type. So that is one. And then the color, so color can be represented in the different way, like we can write red, green, blue, or we can write hash with 6 digit or 3 digit, okay, hexadecimal character. So it's like 000 means it's a black, FFF completely is a white. So like this we can define a color. Okay, so this is the way we will provide styling to the element. Okay, so let's now check with, so before that I'll just go and display, I'll showcase to you one element. So let's create one element. So I'll just create paragraph. Okay, and I'll just type what I can type. I can just type as uh, this this is the paragraph. Okay, this is the paragraph. Now if I will open with live server, you can see here this is the paragraph. So it's like a default, having the default behavior and default color or size, black color. So now we can apply the CSS in three different way. Okay, we can apply the CSS in three different way. So I'll just tell you about all the three different way. Okay, so first way is you can just provide as a attribute, right? So you can just write style is attribute. If you have to provide any styling to the any element, you have to write a style. So style attribute, and you can define here color colon blue. Okay, and if only one element, one property and value is there, then you can mention semicolon, or if not required. Okay, so now if you see the paragraph color has been changed, right? It became blue. Now if you want to provide one more, then just write semicolon background color as red. Now see, now if you go, you can see background color as red and the color as blue. Okay, so this is one way to integrate CSS for each element, or instead of this, you can just go to header, head tag. After title, you can just create one style tag. It's a closing and opening tag. Okay, so inside this you can just mention like what you want to color, which element you want to color. So let's suppose you want to color paragraph, so you can just keep it as paragraph, so as a selector, so paragraph curly bracket, and you can just write color colon red. Okay, so the color will get changed. If you write background color as blue, it will just change the background color as blue. Okay, so this is second way of writing the CSS. Okay, third way is creating a file. Okay, creating a file called app dot or something like that, index dot css. Okay, index dot css, and instead of this we can just copy this and we can provide it here. Okay, now this file has to be included in the HTML, right? So instead of writing this style tag, okay, just we can write link tag. Okay, link tag, and instead of href, so relation as a style sheet, means what type of sheet is there, this is a style sheet, and then href as a path of the file. So path of the file is inside the same folder we have index.css, so we'll just write index.css. Now if I save, you will get the same output. See, color as red and background color as blue. So either you can use link tag to include the external CSS. This is the external writing of CSS, or else you can create one style tag inside header. Okay, closing and opening, and then you can mention all the CSS, or direct to the element using a style property you can create a CSS. Okay, but here is the difference. What, like if you write a external CSS, like you are writing index.css and you are writing color as red, so what happens, like this paragraph color is red, right? But some person, what they'll do, they'll just write style color as yellow. Okay, color as yellow. Now if you see, instead of making color as red, it became yellow. Why? Because this link, it will execute from top to bottom approach. Okay, and always the preference will be given to this, means always the priority will be given to the element included attribute over the external CSS or any tag inside the head. Okay, so what is happening here, first the paragraph color is getting changed red. Okay, now background is getting changed to blue, but when it comes to execute this line, the paragraph will be red and blue. But again what we are doing, we are overriding the style, means we are redefining the style. So here this style attribute, what it will do, it will just make color red to L. Okay, so this will have the higher precedence or higher preference, okay, other than external CSS. Okay, so this is the three way to include CSS to the HTML tag. Okay, so now next we'll have, so now see, now here P I have written, right? Now I'll just create one more P. Okay, now if I write, this is the paragraph second. Okay, now if you see, both the paragraph is having the same style, because I have mentioned P tag in index.css, color as red and background as blue. So whatever P tag will be created in index.html, wherever it will be, all the color and background color will be the same, right? So for that, if I don't want second paragraph the color should be changed, then what I will do, I will just make this, either I can just write here style. Okay, either I can just write style tag here, I can just write color as white. Okay, so you can see first paragraph is red but second paragraph is white because we are overridden the p tag css external css style changing to color white. Okay, so that is one way you can change, or else you can just create a id and you can just write id as some id like para1 something like that. Now this id para1 will be denoted using hash symbol. Okay, hash para1. Now if I do hash para1, you will see wherever this para1 is included as a id to the element, that will only have effect of this css. Other element will not have any effect. Okay, so now the output will be, this is the paragraph will have red color and background blue color, but this second paragraph will not have background as blue color or background as red color. This second paragraph will have always the background of white color. Okay, so I think it won't be visible, see, because I have made background as white color, right? So this is one way id, this is called id selector, means how we are going to select the element. So if I have to select unique element, if I have to make the element very uniquely style very uniquely in different way for each of the element, then just go for id. But if you want to make both the element, let's suppose there is one more p tag, there is one more p tag, and if you don't want third p tag to have some style, and if you want both the p tag to have same style, so instead of id we have to assign class. Okay, we have to assign the class. So now if I paste both the class on the same both element, now both this element will have same css styling. Okay, same css styling, but third paragraph will not have any styling. Okay, so now if I have to denote class in the css, for id we have to write hash, for class we have to write dot. Okay, so if dot is there in the css, then you should understand, okay, there is some class kept in the html anywhere, so para1 class. But if you find like, okay, it's a hash, then you have to search in id, so there is a unique element we are going to style. So now if you see, these two will have same styling, but this third will not have any style, right? So see, these two will have same style, but third is not having any style. Okay, so this is another way of selecting the element to provide the style. So that is class selector. Okay, so one is id selector, one is class selector. Others are there, attribute selector and all. Okay, so we'll move back again to the PPT and we'll see. Okay, so list of selector. So first we can see universal selector. Universal selector is nothing but whatever is there inside the body tag in HTML, apply to all the element. Okay, apply to all the element. So what we can check here, like see, there is p tag, p tag, p tag, right? So many p tags are there. Either I can keep in body or I can provide here directly universal. Universal means it's a star. So instead of any element, anything, I'll just write star. Okay, I'll just write color as what I can write, violet, blue, violet. Okay, so whatever element I will create inside the HTML tag, body tag, all the colors will have blue, violet. Okay, all the colors will have blue, violet. And why these two colors is having this one means I have kept para as color red and background color as blue, because what will happen, first universally this will applied, but after that it will go to check this. So it will check again class is there, so again it will go to class and it will just override. So that is the reason these two has color red and blue still, but third is having color as blue violet. Okay, so this is one universal selector. It will be applied for all the element inside the CSS, right? So next is element. Element is nothing but it's like a p tag, table tag, span tag. So direct writing a element name. Like here I can write span. Okay, I can just give color as blue. Okay, and here I will go and paragraph and I'll just create one span. Hello. Now if you see a span, you can check here the span has blue color. Okay, because span we are writing with a name. So if I create 10 span also, all the color will be same. See, all the color will be same. And as we know, a span as inline element, so all the span will be on the same line. It won't change different line. But if in the place of span, if we could create paragraph, then that time all the hello should be different line. So if you want to see, we can just check with P. Now see, all the hellos are on one line. Okay, so these are called element selector. Okay, these are called class selector. This is universal selector. Okay, next is attribute selector. So attribute selector is like we have to check the attribute of the input element. Like see, input element. So already we know on the basis of attribute we are going to change the style. Like see, if I'll create form, okay, and inside form if I'll create input, okay, so input has so many. Input has text as well. Okay, input has what is that, number as well. Number as well. Okay, so two inputs are there, right? Two inputs are there. But if I'll go for changing the style for input type text, so that will not apply to type number, because type is nothing but it's an attribute. So based on attribute also we can change the styling. So I can just write here input, okay, type equals text. Okay, and I can just write type equal text. I can write border as 10px, sorry, 2px solid red. Now if you see here, see first border having red color, right? Because I have just made changes to the attribute type text. So it will not apply to second box, because second box is not type text. Second box is type number. Okay, so that is the reason styling didn't affect it to type number. But here if I write instead of text, if I'll change number, then all the input element which is having the attribute type as number will have the same styling, that is background border as 2px solid. Now if we'll reload, now you see, now this became red. See, now this became red and this is as normal. Okay, so this is attribute selector. Okay, and one is child selector. So child selector, already I told you, like we have parent div and we have child div. So see, if I will create here, I'll just create one div, and inside this I'll write paragraph, and paragraph I'll write hello. Okay, so one thing we can write, we can just write paragraphs, it will change all. But if I want to do a specific for this paragraph, then I can write like this way. Means which paragraph, so who is the paragraph which is inside the div, that paragraph change the styling as font size as 50 pixel. So this paragraph will only be affected to inside div. Okay, what paragraph? It won't be affected to all other paragraph. Okay, because this the structure is different. This is the child element for the div parent, right? So only this paragraph size will get changed on 50 pixels. All this paragraph will have the default value or whatever value has been provided, but only the div inside paragraph is there, that styling will get changed. Okay, understood? So this much only we have to know about CSS. Okay, because there is nothing other than this I can teach you as a backend developer. Okay, so small knowledge of HTML, small knowledge of CSS is enough for us to go with the JavaScript. Okay, so now what we do, what is the time? 5:47, 5:32. Okay, so now what I will do, based on these all knowledge, I will create one form. Okay, I will create one form, and then we will try to get the data of the form. Okay, get the data of the form. So let's create first the form, then once we go for JavaScript, then we can get the data for the form. Okay, so let's go for the form. So I'll just delete it entirely, so page got blank. Now I'll just write one header h3. I'll just create h3, and I'll just write a registration form. Okay, so if you see here, you can see registration form. Okay, now I just create the form, and for the form I'll just create with label, right? So for that I'll just bind with div. Okay, I'll just bind with div, and I can just write label, and with for name, and here name, and after label we can just create one input element, right? So input as input text. Okay, name as we can write f name, and id also we can write id. Why the id is required, I'll tell you. Okay, so it's a id as f name, but whatever this for name will be there, no, same thing you have to write here. Okay, so f name, here I can just change first name. Okay, so this is one bundle, right? Div with label and input. Same way we can take this out and we can copy this. Okay, and in place of first name we can just write l name, last name l, right? Here we can write phone, type, number, phone, phone. Okay, same way we can create one more div. Okay, and I'll just write, so there won't be any label here. You can just write type as button. Okay, name as submit. Okay, id and all is not required, name and id is not required, so just type it. Now if you see here, okay, name, oh sorry, name as submit, and the value as submit. See, so what it happened, first name as text, second name as text, third name as number, and fourth is submit button. Okay, fourth is submit button. Now I'll just give style to div. So style to div I can just give like this way. So style to div, so where I can give margin top 20 pixel. Okay, this is a property, means give some spacing from the top. Okay, this you don't need to understand this all, because this is not for our backend development. There is nothing required for our backend development. Okay, and then padding 20 pixel. Okay, see, like this way it will become. Okay, so this is the one. So first name, last name, phone. Okay, first name, last name, and phone. Fine. So we have created the form today. Now tomorrow what we will do? We will take this form. We will type something. Okay. So let's suppose I'm just typing here as uh, Sandeep Jaiswal. Right. Sandeep. Here I'll write Jaiswal, and here I'll write the number. Okay, now once the button will get click, we have to take all the data from the input text box and we have to print. Okay, so that will starts our JavaScript. Okay, so that starts our JavaScript. So you also try creating this form with your own by practicing. Okay, and just get familiar with the form. So we will meet on next class, and then we will proceed further to take the value from this text box and proceed do some further appraisal. Okay, so any doubt, anything is there you have to ask me?